What would you do if the man your daughter married, the one who called you mom, who carved the turkey at Thanksgiving, who danced with your little girl at her wedding, showed up at your door one night, alone, with a bottle of wine and a look in his eyes that didn't belong there? It was a Wednesday. Emma was out of town for work. Ryan knew that. He had no reason to be at my house, and yet there he stood, leaning on the doorframe like he had every right to be there. I told myself he was just being thoughtful, maybe lonely. But something about the way he smiled, the way he said my name, sent a chill through me. I should have shut the door. But I didn't. And what happened that night changed everything I thought I knew, about him, about myself, and about the fine, fragile line between love and betrayal and why name is Marlene Turner. I'm 53 years old, a retired high school literature teacher, and I've lived in the same pale yellow house with creaky wood floors and rose bushes under the windows for over 2 decades. It's the kind of home that smells faintly of lemon polish and old books, the kind where every picture frame holds a frozen memory of someone I used to be, or someone I used to hold close. I've been a widow for 9 years. James, my husband, my steady lighthouse, passed away from a heart attack in the middle of a conversation. One moment he was laughing at something silly I said about his hairline, and the next, he was gone. I still haven't gotten used to the silence he left behind. I fill the days with gardening, reading, rearranging furniture I've already rearranged a dozen times, and hosting the occasional dinner for my daughter and her husband. Emma is my only child. She's 29, fiercely independent, wickedly smart, and almost alarmingly ambitious. She left home at 18 for NYU and never really looked back. We've always been close, even when she didn't call as much as she should have. She has her father's quick wit and my stubborn streak. A dangerous mix, but it served her well. She's currently a rising star in a logistics firm, which is exactly as stressful and unglamorous as it sounds, but she loves it. And then there's Ryan. Ryan entered our lives like a gust of fresh air on a stale summer day. He's charming, quick with compliments, and the kind of man who remembers not just birthdays but the kind of cake you like. Emma brought him home for Thanksgiving 5 years ago, and I'll admit, I liked him. We all did. He listened. He cared. Or at least, that's what he made us believe. They got married 2 years ago in a small vineyard ceremony just outside of Napa. It was perfect, sunlight streaming through the trees, Emma in lace, Ryan crying as he said his vows. I stood by her side, proud and full, believing she had found the kind of love that would last. We all want to believe we can spot the cracks before something breaks. But sometimes, their hairline fractures, hidden beneath smiles, beneath Sunday dinners and family photos. Sometimes, you don't see the danger until it's already stepped inside your home, closed the door behind it, and made itself comfortable. Tea was a Wednesday evening, 2 days after Emma flew to Chicago for a leadership conference. I had just finished watering the garden and was about to draw myself a bath when I heard the doorbell. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door and saw Ryan standing there, I froze. He was holding a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, my favorite, and wearing a soft grey sweater I'd bought him for Christmas. His hair was slightly tousled, like he hadn't bothered with a comb, and he looked comfortable. Too comfortable. Thought I'd drop by, he said casually. Didn't want you feeling lonely with Emma out of town. I hesitated. My instinct was to say thank you but no, to shut the door with a polite smile. But instead, I heard myself say, well, I guess 1 glass of wine won't hurt. He followed me in like he belonged, his footsteps familiar, even confident, as if this wasn't the first time he'd imagined himself alone in my house. We sat on the porch, where the last streaks of sunlight stained the sky orange and violet. The air smelled faintly of lavender from the garden, and the breeze carried the soft hum of crickets waking for the night. To Emma, I said, raising my glass. To Emma, he echoed, but his eyes stayed on me a beat too long. For a while, the conversation stayed safe. Work. Travel. A funny story about his co-workers. I listened, nodded, laughed where appropriate, but something in my chest stayed tight, like my body knew something I hadn't yet admitted to myself. You know, he said, swirling his glass, you've always had this grace about you. Like nothing rattles you. That's the teacher in me, I replied, deflecting. 12-year-olds with raging hormones and peanut allergies can't afford a rattled authority figure. He chuckled, then leaned a little closer. No, it's more than that. You're magnetic, Marlene. My stomach knotted. That's a strange thing to say to your mother-in-law, I said, forcing a smile. He shrugged, not looking the least bit embarrassed. I guess I've always noticed it. Emma talks about how strong you are. She looks up to you. That's sweet, I murmured, standing abruptly. Let me get some water. I walked into the kitchen, gripping the counter until my knuckles turned white. What was he doing? Was he testing the waters? Was I imagining this? I didn't hear him come in, but suddenly he was behind me, close, too close. I miss this, he said softly. I turned. Miss what? The feeling of being seen. His words stopped me. The silence that followed pressed against my ears like static. I felt his hand brush mine as I reached for a glass. My breath hitched. Ryan, this isn't appropriate, I said firmly, but my voice cracked. He stepped back half an inch but didn't leave. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm living someone else's life. You're married to my daughter, I snapped, louder now. I know, he whispered, eyes searching mine. And I love her. But sometimes, I wonder if I married her because she reminded me of you. I slapped the counter, the glass slipping from my hand and shattering in the sink. That's enough, I said, trembling. You need to go. Now. He nodded slowly, as if he'd expected this, but his expression was unreadable. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I didn't answer. He left without another word. I stood in that kitchen for a long time after the door closed, staring at the broken glass, at the water mixing with red wine in the basin. My heart thundered in my chest, not with desire, but with shame. Not because I had done anything, but because I almost didn't stop it soon enough. And worse, I wasn't sure what frightened me more, that Ryan crossed a line, or that a part of me, a lonely part one didn't like to admit existed, wanted to know what would have happened if I hadn't told him to leave. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my bedroom with the window cracked open, the night air whispering through the curtains. My mind looped over every word, every glance, every breath that had passed between Ryan and me. The next morning, I told myself it was over, that I had shut the door, literally and metaphorically. But then came the message. A simple text from Ryan. I'm sorry if I made things uncomfortable. I just needed to be honest with someone. I didn't reply. I deleted it, then stared at my phone like it might confess something I couldn't. By Friday, Emma was home. She walked through the front door, exhausted but glowing. I missed you, she said, wrapping her arms around me. She smelled like hotel shampoo and airport coffee. Let's do wine and old movies tonight. I need to turn my brain off. I smiled. Of course, sweetheart. Just like old times. She unpacked in the guest room as I poured wine with trembling hands. Dinner was light, grilled vegetables, some leftover quiche. We sat on the couch under a fleece blanket, watching Roman holiday our ritual comfort film. Somewhere between Hepburn's laughter and Gregory Peck's dreamy smile, Emma turned to me with a sigh. Ryan's been weird lately, she said. My chest tightened. Weird how? She frowned. Distant. Like his not their star. I asked him last week if something was wrong and he said he was just tired. But it's more than that. I stayed quiet. I thought maybe he was cheating, she added, her voice almost too casual. I turned sharply. Why would you think that? I don't know. It's just a feeling. He's been distracted. Checking his phone all the time, not really hearing me when I talk. He's good at hiding things, you know? The irony punched me in the gut. She took another sip of wine. But then I thought, maybe it's me. Maybe I've been too focused on work. Maybe I've become hard to love. I grabbed her hand. Don't you ever say that. You're not hard to love. She blinked. Then why does it feel like I'm always being left behind? There it was, the crack in her armor, the piece of her that still hadn't healed from losing her father so suddenly, the part that feared every man would eventually walk away. And here I was, sitting with the truth like it was burning a hole through my skin. "He came by the other night," I said, softly. Emma turned, confused. "Ryan?" I nodded. "Said he didn't want me to be alone." Her eyes narrowed. "That's odd. Why didn't you say something?" I hesitated, then chose the truth. "Because something happened. He crossed a line. Said things he shouldn't have. I asked him to leave." Her face didn't move for several seconds. Then, "What kind of things?" I swallowed. "He said he missed being seen. That maybe he married you because you reminded him of me." Silence. It stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, she whispered, "Oh my God." "I'm so sorry," I said, my voice cracking. "I didn't invite it. I shut it down. But you deserve to know." Tears welled in her eyes, but none fell. "I don't even know who I'm angry at right now. Him, or you." "I understand." She stood slowly. "I need to think." She didn't slam the door when she left, but it still felt like something broke in that moment. Not just between her and Ryan. Between us, too. And I wasn't sure either would ever fully heal. Emma stayed away for a week. No calls, no texts, just silence. The kind of silence that doesn't scream, but echoes. I spent that time in a fog, cleaning the same windows twice, letting the coffee grow cold in my cup, sitting in the porch rocker long past sunset, listening to the cicadas buzz and wondering how something so small could make so much noise. Wondering how one night, one moment, could unwind everything we had stitched together over years. When she finally came back, it was early morning. I heard her car in the driveway before I saw her face. She didn't hug me, just sat down across from me at the kitchen table, same spot where we used to eat Sunday pancakes when she was little. "I confronted him," she said. Her voice was hoarse, like she hadn't slept much. "He admitted it." I nodded, unsure if that made me feel better or worse. "I ended it," she continued. "I asked him to move out. Not just because of what he said to you, but because it made me realize how far we'd already drifted. I didn't want to be with someone who could say those things, think those things." I reached for her hand, tentative. She let me take it. "I'm sorry, Emma. I should have told you right away. I should have." "No," she interrupted gently. "You did tell me. You chose to tell me. You could have buried it, but you didn't. And maybe that's the only reason I can still sit here with you." We sat in silence, our fingers loosely intertwined. I wish I could say everything went back to normal. That we laughed like we used to, that trust bloomed effortlessly again. But some things take time. Some wounds don't close neatly. Ryan became a ghost in our conversations, mentioned only when necessary. Emma threw herself into work again, more guarded now. As for me, I went back to tending my garden, to patching up cracks where I found them. But I carry that night with me like a folded letter in my coat pocket, unreadable to others, unforgettable to me. Because sometimes, the hardest truths aren't the ones we confess. They're the ones we finally choose *, not * to hide.